हेलो स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम बात करेंगे एमसीक्यूज और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में जुडिशरी इन इंडिया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड हाई कोर्ट। द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया was established in the year 26 January 1950. The Supreme Court is mentioned in which part of the Constitution? Part 5. The articles related to the Supreme Court are from 124 to 147. The minimum number of judges in the Supreme Court originally 8. Who appoint the judge of the Supreme Court? President. The present stand of the Supreme Court is 34. Which article provides for the establishment of the Supreme Court? Article 124. Who can increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court? Parliament by law. The Supreme Court is the guardian of the fundamental rights. The salary of the judge of SC is decided by the Parliament. The Supreme Court has how many types of the jurisdiction? 5. Each jurisdiction allows individual to directly approach Supreme Court for the rights violation. Original jurisdiction under Article 32. Disputes between states come under original jurisdiction. The appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court includes civil, criminal and constitutional. Which article empowers the Supreme Court to issue writs? Article 32. Who can seek advisory opinion of the Supreme Court? President. Under Article 143, Supreme Court gives advice to the President on any question of law or fact of public importance. Which article provides special leave to appeal to Supreme Court? Article 136. Supreme Court's decision is binding on all courts in India. Judicial review is exercised by Supreme Court under Article 13 and Article 32. Which part of the Constitution deal with High Courts? Part 6. Articles related to High Courts are from 214 to 231. Which article provide for the High Courts in states? Article 214. A High Court judge holds office until the age of the 62. The High Court judge is appointed by the President. A person is eligible for High Court judgeship if they have practiced for 10 years as an advocate. The High Court has which types of jurisdiction? All of the above, that is original and appellate, writ and advisory. High Courts have power to issue rights under Article 226. The High Court can issue rights for both fundamental and legal rights. Chief Justice of High Court is appointed by the President in consultation with CJI and Governor. The transfer of High Court judge is done by the President after consultation with Chief Justice of India. The salaries and conditions of Supreme Court and High Court judge are determined by the Parliament. The removal process of High Court judge is the same as that of Supreme Court judges. Judge of High Court can be removed for proved misbehavior or incapacity. The power to remove a judge lies with the Parliament by impeachment. The independence of the judiciary is ensured by fixed tenure, salary charge on consolidated fund and security of service. The power of judicial review in India is in both Supreme Court and High Court. The final interpreter of the Constitution is Supreme Court. Which of the following is not a writ, that is certificatory? Habeas corpus means prevent detention. The writ that directs an official to perform a public duty is mandamus. The writ of certiorari is issued by higher court to cause the order of a lower court. The right of quo warranto is used to challenge the legality of holding a public office, which writ prevents a subordinate court from exceeding jurisdiction prohibition. Which article gives High Court the power to issue writs? Article 226. The Supreme Court hears appeals in civil and criminal cases under Article 134 and Article 132. The minimum number of judges required to hear a constitutional bench is 5. Appeals in Supreme Court can be made against High Court decisions and tribunal decisions. Who decide the bench composition in Supreme Court? Chief Justice of India. Who is the custodian of the Constitution of India? Supreme Court. The High Court exercise control over subordinate courts in the state. High courts do not have jurisdiction over armed force tribunals. Power to issue rights under Article 226 is wider than Article 32. The High Court can transfer cases to itself under Article 228. Which of the following had the power of superintendence over all lower courts in a state? High Court. The highest law officer of a state is Advocate General. The Advocate General is appointed by the Governor. The Attorney General of India is appointed under Article 76. The Attorney General holds office during the pleasure of the President. The Attorney General can speak and participate in Parliament without what? Judge of the Supreme Court and High Courts can be removed by the Parliament through impeachment. Judge salaries are charged on consolidated fund of the India. The judiciary is independent. Duty no fixed term, salary is fixed, difficult removal process. The judiciary protects fundamental rights. Which body has power of judicial review? Judiciary. The case which established judicial review is India is Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. Basic structure doctrine was laid down in Kesavanand Bharati case. Right to privacy as a fundamental right was upheld in Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Procedure established by law was interpreted in Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India. Which case restricted Parliament's power to amend Constitution's basic feature? Kesavananda Bharati case. Which is the highest court of appeal in India? Supreme Court. Supreme Court judge retired at the age of 65. The President can consult Supreme Court under which article? Article 143. The first Chief Justice of India was Harilal J. Kania. Lok Adalats are part of alternative dispute resolution system. Lok Adalats are organized under which Act? Legal Service Authorities Act 1987. Judicial activism is mostly seen through public interest litigation. PIL was first introduced in India in which decade? 1980s. Who can file a PIL? Any public spirited citizen. The judiciary in India follows which system? Integrated and independent. Which bench hears disputes between unions and state? Constitutional bench. High Court is the highest court of appeal in state. Which article deal with the removal of Supreme Court judges? Article 124(4). The High Court can issue writs for enforcement of both fundamental and legal rights. Who determine the number of judge in High Court? President. Which article gives appellate jurisdiction to Supreme Court in civil cases? Article 133. Who was the first woman judge of Supreme Court? Justice M. Fatima Bibi. Which article grants constitutional status to tribunals? Article 323A and 323B. The Chief Justice of a High Court is appointed by President with consultation of CJI and Governor. Who can move the Supreme Court under Article 32? Any person whose fundamental right is violated. In which case was right to education declared a fundamental right? Mohini Jain case. Right to life is enshrined in which article? Article 21. Doctrine of eclipse related to laws inconsistent with fundamental right. Supreme Court hears constitutional cases with minimum how many judges? 5. Who was the first woman Chief Justice of a High Court in India? Leila Seth. Tribunals were added to the Constitution by 42nd Amendment. Judiciary's independence ensures free and fair justice. Doctrine of basic structure was reaffirmed in Minerva Mills case. Who acts as the friend of the court in PILs? Amicus curiae. Who has the final power to interpret the Constitution? Supreme Court. Thank you.